The world stands on edge tonight as a conflict once contained by back-channel diplomacy and regional balance has erupted into open war. What began as coordinated strikes by the United States and Israel against Iranian leadership and military infrastructure has now drawn direct retaliation, and American lives have been lost. This is not a distant border skirmish. This is a global flashpoint reshaping geopolitics, and it's unfolding right now. At dawn on February 28th, the United States and Israel launched a massive aerial and missile campaign against targets across the Islamic Republic of Iran, including strategic military installations, air defense systems, and command centers in major cities like Tehran, Isfahan, and Tabriz. Officials describe this as a calibrated strike to dismantle Iran's ability to threaten regional and global security. But what was intended as a surgical blow quickly escalated into something far bigger. In response, the Iranian military unleashed waves of ballistic missiles and drones aimed at U.S. military bases and allied positions throughout the Middle East, from Qatar and Kuwait to Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates. Air defenses lit up across the region as states like Israel sounded emergency alerts, closed airspace, and prepared for continued bombardment. In cities across Iran, explosions shook neighborhoods as smoke rose over hospitals and command posts. Amid this retaliation, Iranian officials vowed a fierce response, stating they would not relent in defending their sovereignty. And now, the first confirmed U.S. combat casualties in this conflict. On March 1st, U.S. Central Command acknowledged that 3 American service members were killed in action and 5 others were seriously wounded as a result of Iranian missile and drone counterattacks. These losses mark a somber threshold. The first American lives claimed in a war that only days ago was theoretical, and that many hoped could be avoided. Additional U.S. troops sustained minor shrapnel injuries and concussions as forces continue operations across the region. The human cost extends far beyond military casualties. Reports from Iranian authorities indicate hundreds killed and hundreds more wounded from the initial wave of strikes, including tragic hits on civilian infrastructure. In the Gulf states, missile barrages have also injured civilians and forced lockdowns, underscoring how this conflict is no longer confined to front lines or military bases. World markets are jittery. Oil prices have surged, and nations from Europe to Asia are calling for restraint. Protesters have taken to the streets in capitals around the world, some decrying the escalation as unjust, others demanding support for their governments. In a defiant address, U.S. leadership vowed to press on, calling this an effort to protect American citizens and allies, and to prevent emerging military threats. Meanwhile, Iranian officials have warned of further escalation if external attacks continue. This moment has become a test of international alliances and strategic will, with rhetoric growing sharper by the hour and diplomatic channels strained to the breaking point. Across the world, governments are responding, some calling for immediate ceasefires, others backing one side or the other with statements of solidarity or condemnation. Global institutions like the United Nations are urging restraint and humanitarian protections. Humanitarian groups warn that as the combat widens, civilians could bear the greatest burden of all, from displacement to shortages of basic necessities. This is not a regional dispute anymore. It's a potential catalyst for broad realignments, and a defining moment in early 21st century geopolitics. As the sun sets across the Middle East tonight, war has overtaken hopes for peace. The coming days will determine whether this conflict remains contained, or spirals into something far more devastating than the world has witnessed in decades. Stay with us as we continue to bring updates, analysis, and perspectives on this historic,